Good afternoon. This is the Elliott Wave Weekly Update for the Dow Jones Industrial Average, being recorded on Saturday, June the 21st at 1:30 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time. I'm starting here on the cash market, and I'm actually on my monthly multi-year chart. And in fact, this data goes all the way back to 1902. So we have about 123 years of data present right here. And so I'm going to start just with this picture, if you're new, and then I'm starting right from my largest picture that I have, which is the Grand Supercycle. Grand Supercycle is in the dark blue, Supercycle in the sky blue, Cycle in the brick red, and then primary degree in the green, intermediate degree is yellow, minor degree is the orange bronzy color, or saddle brown, I think they call it. And then inside of that, minute is the whitish gray, and my minuet is magenta, and we'll see those in just a moment. So what we're working on is the completion of a cycle third wave. That cycle third wave began back in 1949. So it's been a long term in the making. And so within cycle wave three, we have five waves of primary degree, of which one, two, three, and four are complete. So we're in primary wave five. Up to complete this cycle three, within primary five, we will be looking for five waves of intermediate degree, and I'm going to bring this down to my 5-year chart. And we have one, two, there's three, there's four, intermediate four. So we're within intermediate wave five of primary wave five of cycle wave three. Within intermediate wave five, we have five waves of minor degree, of which one, two, three, and four are complete. So we're in minor wave five of intermediate wave five of primary wave five of cycle three. I know I'm being repetitive here, but that's what Elliott wave, they're building blocks. So, and then within minor wave five, we will have five waves of minute degree, of which one, two, and three, and four are complete there. So, not to repeat myself again, but we are in this last final minute fifth wave up. And it'll complete minute five, minor five, intermediate five, primary five, and cycle three. That's been my count for a while. And that's what I'm looking for, a completion of a larger wave structure, which will give us a correction that will take much longer than what people likely think to, yeah, I love this, that people would think is going to kind of come through. So let me go back out. Let me just go back to that monthly. And as Elliott had taught us and continues to teach, that a fourth wave will find its terminus, its endpoint, within the fourth wave of one lesser degree. Now, we're looking for that cycle third wave up here. One lesser degree, or one degree down from cycle, is primary. So it'd be primary four, and I put a big box around it. So here is primary wave four, and it was really in place, or took place, from April of 2000, and it finished, the B topped out in 2007, and then the C wave finished up in 2009. And that was the great financial collapse, by the way. That was the C wave of primary wave four. So we've got the big recovery off of that. We got the big recovery off of minor wave four was the pandemic. Intermediate wave four was the interest rates being jacked up and being raised and raised and raised and raised to get control of inflation. And so we just got to follow the bouncing market, so to speak. So all the fourth waves all come in at particularly times of when we thought, okay, this was a pretty severe drop. This was a pretty severe drop. This was, oh my God, the market's crashing. And this was the Great Depression. So we have, this was the crash of 1987, and I was trading that time on the floor. And I tell you, it felt like the world was coming to an end. It was pretty wild. It was pretty crazy, and it was a little bit unnerving. But look what, you can barely see it. And what did we do? We, this low was 1,635. We're trading at 42,000. We've been as high as 45,000. If we thought the world was ending there, what do we think here? It's just going to be a correction. We remain in a very long-term bullish cycle. The grand super cycle wave 3 is still in motion. The super cycle wave 3 is still in motion. So to get to that super cycle wave 3, we've got to finish cycle 3, put in a 4, and then do a cycle 5 back up to finish super cycle wave 3. And then do another super cycle wave 4, super cycle wave 5 back up to finish grand super cycle wave 3. So there's still plenty of upside. But in between, we're going to have some very large consolidation, periods of consolidation. And what's going to trigger it can be all kinds of things. Right now, what are we looking at? We're looking for the start of a cycle fourth wave. What are we dealing with on geopolitical stage right now? Think about it. We've got so much going on that could trigger a massive turn in our economics and in the economy of the globe. And so it's going to affect all the markets. And it could start by this skirmish that we got going on between Iran and Israel. If the United States enter it, isn't that really just declaring a world war? When it splits and it's not just two countries warring at one another, so it's a conflict, it turns into a world war because you've got other countries participating on a military basis. Does that then escalate the whole thing? Does that move in? Now we have other countries coming in on the Iranian side? I don't know. But the globe has been warned. The U.S. is being warned to please, let's negotiate. Let's do this from Putin, from Xi Jinping. So all coming in and saying, you don't want to escalate this. We want to negotiate and calm down because it would disrupt a lot going on. It would disrupt the economies of the world. Now, we got that. We got Russia and the Ukraine. We've got that. We've got NATO. They're having a meeting. We've got Trump saying, I'm giving you 2 weeks to negotiate this thing down before he makes his decision. Am I going to participate? We're going to go in and take out the leader of Iran, or we're going to go in there and take out their nuclear capabilities. It could escalate. What else do we have? Well, we got a tariff war. We got trade wars with just about everything on the globe. Are they still active? Yes. What's going to be the fallout from that? We don't know yet. Still working on that one. We got one side saying, not going to affect us. It's all going to be great. We've got this tax bill. We've got this budget that needs to be passed through the Senate and then signed into law. That thing's got to move through. What's that going to do? We've got downgrades of the United States credit. Has been downgraded by 3 of the major agencies. What's that going to do? We're starting to feel that. You're starting to see the bond market not necessarily continue to rise, which would say that yields are going down. The bonds are falling. Yields are going up. So we have a lot going on. But yet, we need to still rally. So let's start to break this down. So the monthly chart shows that we're not done with primary wave 5. We're not done with minor wave 5. We're not done with intermediate wave 5. So I may come down to my 5-year. So then we got the 3 and the 4. Here is intermediate wave 5. And here we have minor 1, 2, 3, and 4. That minor 4 just finished in April of this year. And so from April 7th, we've been involved in putting in 5 waves up of a minute degree, of which 1, 2, and 3, and 4 are complete, to finish minor wave 5. And so we have our fibs for minor wave 5. And right now, We're up to where the next level for minor 5 would be 1.618, where minor 5 would be 1.618 times the length of minor 1. And that comes in at 46,183. Not saying that's where the market's going to go. That's just on a minor degree, the next level. Now, what's going to have control of that? We're looking at minute. So where can minute wave 5 then stop? Let's drop down to the daily. Now we can see 1, 2, 3, 4. We're in minute wave 5. We have our first chart level at 43,944. But being that it's minute wave 5 to complete minor wave 5, I'm looking for it to go up and make new all-time highs. So there's no the current high is 45,073. 45,073 current all-time high. But if minute wave 5 comes in, as is most common, the 100% level, where 5 equals 1. Well, 1 was pretty big. So wave 5 projects up to 45,552, new all-time high. And if that gets there, it will complete minor 5. Everything will line up where we can get this minute fifth wave in. Because minute wave 5 will complete minor wave 5, will complete intermediate wave 5, will complete all the way down the line, all the way up the line, I should say. So above that, we have one more calculation where minute wave 5 would be 1.618 times the length of minute wave 1. That has to be really good news, by the way, for it to get up there. And that's 48,152. These are just Fibonacci levels. They're technical. They're mathematical. And we can go back over time and realize that the most common Fibonacci retracement, excuse me, the Fibonacci calculation for a fifth wave is that wave 1 is related to wave 5. And the most common is equality, that they equal. And that is right there. So that's what I'm looking for, 45,551. But technically, what the market really needs to do is just get itself above 45,073, where minor 5 is then a new high above minor 3. Then, so it all really is going to come down to how this minute fifth wave tracks, how it does work itself out. So let's bring it down off the daily, bring it down to the hourly. Now we're inside. There's the minute 4. So we have minuet wave 1. Nice little diagonal, and up to, here we have 1, that's 1, excuse me, 2, 3, 4, and then the 5. And that's minute wave 1. Then we had all this noise in here, and we had all the thing for the Middle East, all the good stuff kind of keep happening, and a little bit of tariffs were in there, I believe, all the stuff. And that brought us down, and that was wave A. Now, it could have been, I think at one point, I think would have been wave 2, and I think I had the wave 2 there. And that would have been wave 1 of 3. And then we got into this hassle between Iran and Israel. So wave 2 extends. So that's A of 2, B of 2, and we're in wave C. And now we have 1, 2 coming down in the third. You see, it's a little bit funky there. But here, let's see where it goes. Wave 3 would be 100% of wave 1 at 41,934. If it comes down further, which I believe it will, the C wave would be 100% of the A wave at 41,670. I think it gets in between there. And if wave 3 decides to do a little bit stronger of a push, then it's 41,573. So it's not too bad. It's about 700 points from there to there, but that would just be 3. So I'm not looking for wave 3 to come all the way down to here. I'm thinking I can get down somewhere in between here, do a 4, come back down, and get that fifth wave and the C wave to come in there. And I'll be able to put in more fibs once we start getting into here. I also think that the market now builds towards the June 30th expiration, the quarterly expiration. And that's where we have a lot of activity going in the SPX. It will affect the Dow, It will affect the NASDAQ. It will affect all the markets. But I think that we still have some downside to put in just on a technical basis, and it likely will be provided as we work towards that June 30th expiration, where we see JP Morgan flip their collar, flip that long-term hedge that they put on once a quarter, and they shift it once a quarter. So it's an ongoing thing. It's for a big hedge fund that they have. So that in mind, I think the Dow just placed lower, comes in, puts this low of Minuet Wave 2 in place, probably right around June the 30th or thereabouts, and then we can begin this third wave. Now that's provided, now at the same time, the situation in the Middle East needs to kind of smooth out a little bit here. The firing of missiles needs to kind of come to a close. We need to sit down and negotiate. We need to start getting things back, to like, okay, you guys are happy, you guys are satisfied. We're not going to be bombing each other. Mission accomplished, whatever. That needs to happen to take the pressure off the market, to take the pressure off of the bonds, to take the pressure off of things, because other pressure then can come back and replace, excuse me, and replace it. But right now, that's what's really got the grip of the market. Sorry. Ah, let me take a little sip of water here. So, what are we looking for in the Dow? I'm looking for it to come down, finish wave two, and then begin to rally. Once I get that, I can run 1 to 2 to get some upside targets for wave three. Let's just do a what if. And go up, put it on one, and let's say I'm looking like it's going to come down to 41,670. There you have it. Wave three can get us up to 43,438. So that would be a serious move. 1.618 gets us a little bit higher, gets it above that 618 for wave five, minute wave five, which I think is just going to be resistance, not necessarily stopping the progress. But 1.618 is also achievable if we get down to here and we rally strongly, which I believe we will. And we're at 1.618. Here, it's just wave three equals one. I'm always going to be looking for a little bit more. Why? Because wave three cannot be the shortest wave out of 1, 3, and 5 in any impulse move. And that just guarantees that it wouldn't be. Even if wave five was over what wave three is, wave one would be left as the shortest wave. So it kind of keeps everything in my count clean. If I get a little bit more than 100%, could be 1.382, whatever. Maybe it gets up to here, or it goes full bore up to 1.618. So that's a what if the market drops down to 41,670 and holds. Those those levels will be adjusted no matter where we get to. We just connect that in that fashion. So I'm going to take those off. So we're looking for a good size move, at least to here, if not above, to 44,000. Get us, 3/4 of the way to new all-time highs. And I'm just looking for a 4 and then get that 5, and that should give us what we need to get up into here. All right, that's the cash. Let's go over and take a look at the futures market. Here we have it. Let me just go out to my daily so we can see where we're coming from. There's the minor 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And that was on May the 23rd was the minute fourth wave. And so from that point, we've been rising up in that minute fifth wave. And I'm going to drop this down to the hourly. And what we can see is that same. There's minute 4, wave 1, triangle pattern up to June 11th. So minuet wave 1 completed, ABC down. I thought that could be 2. Nope, we decided to go have a little bit of a war. And so it becomes A of 2. And get this, here's the kicker for the futures market. This counts really good, or best, is that it's an A, B, and we're going to probably rally back up and then drop back down. Now, it doesn't look the same over here. This is where, similar to what the NASDAQ's doing, doesn't look the same, but it could be. So this could be A, B, and we come back up in a C wave to finish the B wave, and then we come back down. So these all could change. Right now, makes it a little bit more difficult. So I've got both sides kind of going here. If we're going to rise up, we could rise up to 40. We could still continue to rally. We got 42,692. We have 42,857. It would just be getting above that high A, B, and put in a C because this could be one. See, it gets a little hairy carry because this ends up being like a 3. So it's kind of a little bit in the futures, a little bit confusing. And so if I had to keep it together, I'd say that if that was A and this was B, and then what could this be? 1, ABC, 2, 3, strange 4. Is it putting in a diagonal? Doesn't look like it. So again, not a pretty picture. I've even dropped it down and put it into, no, that's wrong. This one. And put it into a line chart, and you can see it's 3, 3, 5. And that's why I've marked it A, B. Now this is 3. This is 5, 3, 5. And then we get this crazy A wave and a B wave. And I think we need to go up and finish a C wave. And the Dow could do it. The Dow finished up on Friday. S&P and the NASDAQ were lower. Now, and the Dow, there you have one of it. Apple's a part of the Dow. Helped prop it up. So we'll see. We'll see how this kind of comes through because it could be a weird pattern. It could be A or 1, 2, 3, 4, and it somehow is diagonaling down. And then we just go from here and we come back down into here. We're going to have to wait and see, but it does a little bit of a quagmire there. And so I went over this, I looked at it, I put it in different formats, and it just still comes out the same. And it's too hard to start to even count this as 1, 2, because this is like 1, 2, 3, 4. Nope. Look how high it got. And even when I brought it down, it's just too high. So this whole noise in here really kind of just got it off. But it might just be this. And because this could be a 3. And so that could be, if we're looking for wave 1, 2, 3, I don't know what this is. It's just really hard. If somebody else has an idea, please put it in the comments. Let's talk. Because I've been kind of going through what my possibilities are, and then you have to apply the rules. And so that makes it a little bit more difficult. That's what kept it in an ABC. And this would be a C wave. Now, C wave could fail, all kinds of things. And then we just come back down in the larger. We put the B, and we come back down in the larger. We'll see. We'll see. Because I am still looking for that C wave down. And because otherwise, it's got to be A, B, and this is the C. And then and this is 1, and then we have 2, and we rally. Same factor. We still have those same levels. They might be a little bit different, to be honest with you. If I got A, B, C, if I'm going to do, so then I would have to go from here to here to here. And you can see you still got the same 44,000. Above the 618, we're wave 3. We're looking for a little bit more. Not necessarily looking for it to get all the way up there, but it could. And then you're in your new high territory. For wave 3, come down into 4, and then still manage to get up into here. And a 5 to reach minute wave 5. So that's possible. Still not sure how I would count this, but if I had to, I'd call this the 5, excuse me, the C, and this is starting on the rally phase all over again. So this, minute wave 2, and we're in minute wave 3, and we already have a target. Could be. It could be. But we'll see, because if it breaks above that level, then I'm very going to be determined. Or if it breaks back down and it holds the support, then I'm going to be more inclined to put the 2. Still leaving this like, I don't know. So, but I'm going to show you both sides. And this is the difficulty between the cash and the futures market, because the futures market trades longer, trades more time to do all this crazy stuff. This was all overnight, right? Then we reopened and we fell. This was, I think, still, this was the 17th. This was the 18th. Yeah, it was crazy. 19th in Globex. Now here's Globex. Hey, this is Globex too. And then day off, Globex. So none of this was showing in the futures. I mean, in the cash. So cash reopened right there. Right there. Into this bar. This is the cash reopening. So, whew, it's crazy. But we're going to have to wait and see how this all goes out. So the Dow, yes, I still think we have the potential to drop down to finish wave 2, if I'm looking at the cash, and get ourselves back up and make new all-time highs to finish the whole sequence. We just got to get through this little bit of difficult mismatch between the cash and the futures market. But I am going to leave it there. So I'm giving you the upside targets. I got downside targets, and that's as best as I can do right now. We got to let the market tell us what is happening in the Dow. A little bit crazy. All right, that's where I'm going to complete this. The next update will be next week. Unless something really crazy happens, and I will try to do an intra-week update.